Every individual,
Sorry.
every person who has a web page on this site. Let me share my screen real quick. Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you turn that on?
It should be on now, Sean. I
Okay.
apologize.
That's okay. Let me see. So do we see this page that says veterans roofers? I chose this one because that gentleman is in here with us. This individual submitted information about his business through a web page portal that I put up that's multi-part, that gives the ability for an individual to kind of give me information about their business, the name of the business, their contact information, any logo that they'd like to have added, photographs, what their services are, maybe what their mission statement is, and so forth. So basically, this is Veterans Roofers. And as you can see, it has what category they're in. They're in roofing, and then their tags. And if you scroll down, it has the logo that they provided me. And then they gave me some information in regards to their locations, what email address they wanted to use on the page, a hard statement that's like call to action or a mission statement. They also provided this information to me. And they also provided some of the language that they wanted to place on the website that has information about their business. And then they also provided the services. And then lastly, this little footer that's about their having 25 years of experience. They could also add photographs before and afters, roofing jobs that they've completed. And they also have the ability to add a video if they like from YouTube. You're only allowed one video per page. We try not to have too many videos because videos are quite large and makes these pages a lot more lengthy than I would like them to be. We want the information to be given to the person who looks them up as quickly as possible and as clear and concise as possible. And then you're also limited to 6 photographs. We don't want, like, let's say a restaurant who has 50 items on their menu to provide us 50 photographs of food from the restaurant. Maybe have them provide 6 of their best entrees would be a preferred method of providing photographs for their page. And at the footer area, this is all part of the actual system itself. And usually Scott is the one who adds all this information into. He adds the address, and then he adds the phone number that they gave during their membership enrollment, their website address, and then their link to their Facebook. If they provide Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn, I'd like to put those primarily in the text area at the very top. And basically saying, follow us on Instagram, or come and look, check us out at LinkedIn and learn more about our business in that fashion. Here's another example. Did it show the new tab? Did it switch to the new tab?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Crane's Creation. He's a florist. I wanted to make sure the person's name was right up front, and the mission statement. They gave me 4 links for like roses, birthday, bestsellers, and luxury. And then they have other services, so I provide that in text, and then here's the photographs they provided. The pages are very simple, not over the top. We try to use the logo at the very top. We keep it on white so it's easier to read. A lot of people have different various color variations, and we don't really provide that. We hopefully will have a logo that incorporates some of the colors of the business, but this is primarily what the profile pages are for each member. Now this is Bruno's, who hasn't submitted anything, and as you can see, it's pretty basic. So this is the information that's provided by Scott, and it's provided basically by the member when they first sign up. And we put them in certain tags, so German restaurant, Polish restaurant, and so forth. But it's up to them to provide us additional information by submitting that information through the web page profile, which is here. And you can find that on this menu, the chamber, where it says web page profile. And usually the page is password protected, and you get that password from Sue, and it gets updated on a regular basis. So you just would contact Sue for the password. The reason why we have it password is we don't want people from Russia and different other places filling out the form that we had a few years back. So we password protect the page. But once you get into the page, it's a 10-step process, and it can actually save your progress. So you don't end up, having to do this all in one session. You can actually fill out the page. It'll save it, and you can come back to it later if you wish. But it asks information about who you are, so we can verify that you are the actual member, and you just basically put in your information, just like any other page. And then when you hit next, it will move on to the next section. And as you can see, this bar progresses. So you would just put in like your information here and your web address. Who the owners are, the company email, company phone, fax number, and so forth. It continues on. Let's see. What else I need to put in? Sean. And you'll see that it has like a red star next to some of them, where this one doesn't. The red star means that you have to fill that out, or it won't continue the form. I wonder why that's not working. And you hit next. If you make a mistake, you can hit previous and go back to the previous page if you wish. But as you can see, it continues on with the progress of the page, physical address, mailing address. You can also tell us what address you want to have displayed or none, and so forth. Just keep in mind, it's a 10-page process. It's fairly simple to fill out. The questions are pretty simple, and it's just a matter of providing us your mission statement, your welcome statement, what services that you provide, maybe what your color scheme is, and you can upload your actual logo if you wish. And also you can upload 6 different pictures. And there's also a section that allows you to put in a pasted URL to a YouTube hosted video that you provided that's on your actual YouTube channel. And here you can click this button here for save and continue later, and it will save the information so you can come back to it at a later time. So that's about all there is. It's a pretty simple process. Once again, this is a basic one. There's nothing on it actually. It's just the map and the address, a simple statement about the business, the customary tags. But if you submit information, you can make it a little bit more robust. You can add the mission statement, the links that you want to have on the page, your mission statement, your services, your welcome message. You can upload photographs, and you can also upload videos. So that's about all there is.
Okay.
Now
Sean,
we can open it up. Go ahead.
Sean, going back to Bruno's, for example, it's just basically a listing of our member, their address, telephone number, fax number, and a website, email, possibly.
Yeah, it's not completely
And so
barren.
that
Yeah.
is the basic and general information that Scott inputs. Is that correct? When we
Yes.
For our members,
When a member first joins, they provide that information. Scott goes in and fills this out.
Okay.
And
So,
makes this available. So this is the basic setup. But
so
if you
everyone has that basic page.
yes.
But if you want to zhuzh it up, then you want to go in there and
then you want to fill out this form, which is a
10-part.
Yeah, it's a 10-part process.
Right.
And then it can change into something a little bit more like this.
Okay.
There's also an example on this page. Let me go back to the beginning. We have this member here, which is the trophy shop, which is an example which gives you the ability to kind of check out what a page could be. And if you come here, you'll see that there's now she is always on top of updating her page, and she submits that form about, I would say, every 3 to 4 months, 6 months, and she'll update the information or any of the links that she wants to have changed. And as you can see, that she's added quite a bit of information, and she also will kind of give me some information on how she'd like to have it laid out, which is also very helpful. So yes, that's about how basic it is. It's pretty simple. It's just a matter of going to that place on the page, the website, which is under the chamber, and then clicking here. Obviously, right now the password's been removed, so you guys can look at it yourself right now if you're on the web and want to take a look at it right now. But after the meeting, I'll probably put password back on, and then Sue is the person that you would contact by phone or by email and asking for that password. If you're a new member and you just sign up, I'm assuming that there's some type of a welcome packet, some type of introduction that's done between Scott, Sue, and Linda, and they probably will give you the password at that time as well, and also tell you about the webpage profile link, so that you know where to go and fill out information so you can kind of spruce up your page. So I've also been asked why you can't do it yourself. It's just, like I said, it's a very closed system. It's a simple HTML editor, but it's nice to keep everything kind of uniform to where everyone has equal space, I guess you could say. If I were to give someone the ability to spruce up their own page, they could write War and Peace and put in a zillion photographs and a zillion videos, and then another person would go, well, that's not fair. So we try to make sure everyone's kind of uniformly kind of the same and have the same footprint. One other thing I do want to mention, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that this is your URL. It says Lakewood Chamber member, United States, Washington, Lakewood, florist, Crane's Creation. So if you're, let's say, the Veterans Shop or Veterans Roofers, excuse me, it would say Lakewood. Let's say you're in Tacoma though, then this actually would change to Tacoma. So this is actually your SEO footprint. You would provide this just like you would a link for Facebook. You'd possibly want people to come and take a look at this if you like. And then if people are coming to the page themselves, they go like the business member directory here. You'll see all the different categories of businesses that are members. And like if you click on, I'm not sure, let's use healthcare. You'll see the different listings. And if you put your mouse over each one of them has a link. You can see in the bottom left corner. So if you were to click on this link, you'll see that it shows the link right here for this particular page. So that's how people would find you. And that's also how Google sees this page as well, because these are all Google enhanced URLs. They're called vanity URLs. So Google does see these words and categorize you in the right city, in the right state, etc. So there's also a map that shows people. So if I were to type in roofing and search, it brings them right up. And as you can see, it's pretty simple and pretty fast. The server that the chamber has chosen is pretty robust. If you go to the actual map itself and see these little items, it tells you the different events that are going on as well. So let's say this is Tacoma Rainiers baseball, Asian Pacific Culture Center annual Polynesian Luau. And these are all the events that the Scott and crew have entered into the database that keeps everybody updated on what's going on with the chamber and the events that are going on. And also you can show up on this map during a search for your industry and so forth. So it's, as you can see, it's pretty well put together in terms of how people can be found. And that's all I have, actually, if there's any questions. Any questions?
Looks cool. Good job. And so was there, Linda, did you send us an email with kind of the step-by-step or the other things that we need to do to set up as far as, or is this the main thing to set up when we are new members?
Sorry, let me come back on here. Yeah, there should have been instruction provided to you. If not, then yeah,
I'll go back and look. I've had so many lately, but yeah, I just didn't know if there was a step-by-step of do this and then this. And
step by step is pretty simple. You just go to the web page profile and you log in, and all you need is the password. And
yeah, and the password is pretty simple. It's just right now it's LCOC 2021. And typically when we update it, we just update it to the next year, which would be 2022, obviously.
which is in now.
Yeah. You know, it basically that password, like I said, was necessary because we were getting a lot of false submissions from potential hackers. I'd always have to send a note to Scott. Is this person a member? Scott would go, no, that person's not a member. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to password protect the page. And then Sue, I think is the person that you contact. Well, Sue and Scott, but Sue primarily is the person I believe I gave.
Well, and if you have anyone working in your office that you have interested to do this type of work, but is, let's say, a former employee now that maybe you don't want to have access to this information or the ability to make any changes, it's just a good way to protect.
Yes, good idea.
The information
Thank you.
that you prefer to have the general public find. So, yeah.
But we've, like I said, try to make it as simple as possible. And it's you have the ability to save the form so you don't feel like you're overwhelmed because there's 10 steps. But it's not lengthy. I tried to make them as short as possible, and each section is specific to a specific idea. So for instance, like this is your personal information, so we know who's filling out the form. There have been staff that have been tasked with fill out the form, but they are doing it for the owner. And so the next page would be about the company and who the owners are. There have been special requests of not displaying the owner's name. So there is a section in regards to that as well. I think BECU showed who the owners were to us, but said, please do not display who the owners are. So it's all within that. And I've adjusted the form based on some of the requests. There's financial individuals that are they're brokers, or they help with people with finance. They have some of the strictest rules and laws in regards to how they can portray themselves online. And so when they're, usually what I do is like for instance, Cranes Creation or Veterans Roofers, I just simply process the page and put it up. But if it's a financial person, usually what I do is I'll create the page, but I'll password protect it so it can't be found. And then I'll go to that person who is actually the person who filled it out, and then we can review it quickly. Or they may even have to have it reviewed by a body from the financial organization before it can be actually put up publicly. So we are aware of those kind of things. And that's the process that is the only thing that actually is a little more difficult than the regular Joe, like, Cranes Creation or Veterans Roofers. But we are aware of those requirements as well. Any other questions?
One of the things that that you see displayed on some of the pages, the specialty pages, are like for Veterans Roofers, for example. I saw chamber member and I saw roofing. When yeah, under the member categories, or I'm thinking more along the lines of member tags. Do you suggest more or less, or does it really matter? Does that help with the SEO?
The more tags you provide, the better. Okay. Yes. So roofing, So Bruno's is a perfect example of how to do tags. It's a German restaurant, international restaurant member, Polish restaurant.
Okay,
So because it, so for roofing, probably veterans, roofer, um, new construction. Is he here at all? I don't see
I
him
don't know.
listed anymore.
Jose, are you gone?
Oh, no, he's there. So he could give us what his tags are, or we could assume what they are. I would prefer that they provide us the tags,
Mm-hmm.
but he may not do new construction.
Okay.
I don't know that, but I would, if I was doing his profile without any information, I would put him in new construction, or I would put him in, roof repair,
Or remodel or
or
whatever.
I'm not sure. He may even do cleanings. He may do moss cleanings. He may even provide gutter services and we're not even aware of it. So those are the types of tags that could go in there. But he could provide that information to us, or we can make the assumption. So we make the assumption in a very general way, but if he wants to add additional tags, he's more than welcome to.
Okay.
I'll send you 20 tags today.
Okay, maybe 10 is fine. But yeah, well, if you do 20, I guess it'll go way over here because we'll see how, like say Bruno's, let's see, how many got? 1, 2, as long as they're single word tags and only 4 letters long, you got a deal. But yeah, tags are very important. They are primarily the thing that Google looks for.
Right,
They
right.
they basically want to look up what the category is, and they want to see what the tags are. But also the richness of the text. For instance, this is a good amount of text. So he has the word condominiums in here, industrial, retail, commercial buildings,
Mhm.
high rises, quality materials, craftsmanship, cracks in pipes, damaged gutters. So he has quite a bit of broken shingles. So he has a good amount of SEO keywords that are on this page. Now, this is not necessarily, when you type in veteran roofers, going to show up at the very top of the page. But what this does, it reinforces his SEO footprint for his own business. So when he's doing the SEO for veteranroofers.com, Google will see there's also additional pages in the Google database that he's also listed as. So this is no different than doing a mom and pop directory that's from Kentucky, for instance. It doesn't matter who goes and sees it as long as Google knows that it exists. So if he puts himself on a whole bunch of directories, let's say he puts himself in 100 different directories across the United States, or since he's local, all over Washington, or Washington State itself, that just helps his SEO footprint even further. You just get points from Google for having yourself all over the place, because it'll see that veteran roofing is here and there. They've written a blog article and this, or here's even another thing, a fellow, competitor. They work together on a project. That's also another SEO footprint. Blog article writing, in the news, if you've been, on Como 4 News or, Cairo or whatnot, those all help with SEO. So this is no different. This is the same thing. So we're not concerned that you're not showing up, on Google per se for this actual listing, but we want to, if we were to look this up on Google, we would know that this URL right here, Google is aware of it. And so when he does his own SEO, Google is going to say, oh, this guy is pretty prominent. He's not a fly by night. He didn't open up a shop yesterday, kind of a thing. So that's how SEO kind of functions and works.
Okay.
So any other questions?
Do you want to mention the size of the photographs?
Well, I usually just reduce them down. I've had people send them to me in gargantuan sizes, but anything less than 400 pixels wide is probably not a good idea because it's too small.
Okay.
A good quality photo of 1200 pixels wide to 900 is good, but a lot of people are using the large TVs now. Just not even just their cell phones and iPads, but they have large monitors. They're so inexpensive these days, so you can get yourself a 40-inch monitor. And websites look kind of weird, on a 40-inch monitor, because it's basically you have this big monitor, and then your web page is this small narrow column in the middle. It looks kind of dorky. So, anything larger than 1200 pixels is perfect. Like Crane's Creation, they sent me these photographs. These photographs were like 4,600 pixels wide, and that's exactly how big they are in here. The hosting services that Lakewood Chamber has can accommodate these large photographs, and the reason why I left them at that size is because, you know, people using different iPads and different video monitor sizes, the pictures themselves will shrink and expand based on the device that's being used to view the page. So
So basically, any picture from your phone, you just send it and you just reduce it or do whatever you need to do then, right?
yeah, what I prefer not to get is anything like, don't send it to me through Facebook
Okay.
or messaging. Upload it yourself through, you know, the page, the web profile. The reason being is because once it's been put into an instant messenger, Facebook reduces the quality of the video to such an extent that it's not really viable for larger monitors. So the original photograph is the best photograph to send.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have any kind of creativity yourself, you can use Photoshop or even a free program called GIMP. You could take these photographs and watermark them yourself. So let's say veteran roofers, if they want to provide me some photographs, they could actually put this logo in the bottom right corner of every photograph. That's actually quite helpful as well. And one of the reasons why is because when you go to Google, you can go to image search. You can type in the word roofing. Then you go to image search. You can see all these images. And so these are all images that are on people's pages. And what they lack is they lack a thumbnail, so that one, they don't get stolen by a competitor, and it also gets your logo out with a little bit of branding. So when you do provide a picture, it's always a really good idea to put some type of watermark on the photograph so you can say it's yours. Like for Crane's Creation, obviously, you know, this one right here where it says Crane's Creation, that's kind of branded, but this one right here doesn't say anything but flowers. But if you were to put the logo of Crane's Creation in the bottom right corner, then you have ownership of that photograph. And then when it shows up, if you type the word flowers, you know, it would show up right here and it would have like Crane's Creation as a logo. So it's probably a good idea to do that, because people do come to Google Images and take these photographs and add them to their own website without the owners knowing about it. So it's a good idea to kind of brand your photographs if you provide them to me. So, any other questions? I don't hear anyone.
Well, everyone's muted themselves, so if they're talking, we can't hear them. No, just
Yeah.
joking. Just joking.
And then the one other thing I do want to bring up is that we do have a press section. And where is that at? Oh, right here. You're welcomed to be a guest writer at the chamber. Beyond just the membership page, if you want to put together an article about your industry, about what's going on in your industry, anything that might be of concern, or you want to educate the public, what I would suggest you do, for instance, is provide an article submission to Linda so she can review it. We do welcome guest writers. I write occasionally for the chamber. So for instance, like this page right here, I was so awe-inspired by Linda's rain that she did, where she's dancing in the rain. I was so compelled to write about it, how it made me feel when I saw it. And you know, she looks like a little kid right here, just having the time of her life. Okay, so don't be shy about, you know, being a guest writer. We welcome articles. I think Sean Gagnon has written a couple. And we do really want you to write some articles, because it helps with the SEO footprint, not only for just the chamber itself, but for you. So for instance, this is a huge boost for Wendell Portraits, because she takes this URL and I posted it on her page on Facebook. She also could reference this URL on her own website, saying that she was basically in the news, that someone thought this I forget what she calls it.
Green light.
Rain light
Mhm.
was so awe-inspiring. I mean, that photograph right there is worth $1 million to her, because that is promotion, and it's all about promoting yourself. And you don't have to write War and Peace. You could do 600 to 900 words. You also could do like a guest writing spot where I could do a 3-part series, and you provide an article once a month. You would be amazed at the possibility of, if someone comes across and reads it and finds that you are really good at writing and wants to know more about your topics, they'll jump on the chance to read the next one and the next one. And it's good SEO, because you can see right here, I posted more information about who she is, what her website address is, what the session was, how to contact her. And I also provided a link to her actual page on the chamber website. So it's a good idea to do this if you want to become a guest writer for the chamber.
Yeah,
Huge-
like
huge
Leanna,
benefit.
Leanna recently posted something that was so compelling that I ended up sharing it on the chamber's member only page, because there was some really, really good information in it about, financial independence. And so those types of things, even if you want to take that and condense it, because people don't like to read on and on and on. We all know that. I mean, people are, we're a soundbite kind of a world now. So pertinent information, just short and sweet, and it could be something very, very specific. Maybe it's about IRAs, and maybe it's just that specific or that narrow. Excuse me, or starting a, college tuition fund for your child or your grand or whatever it might be. Tammy, you guys do fantastic marinated meats, but maybe you want to do something about barbecuing for the summer, and talking about certain cuts of meat that are better than others. And Jose, I mean, it's always, when isn't there a good time to talk about roofing? But especially when we started talking about the rainy season, and it's a bad time to wait. Wait till the leaks start coming into your house. But just kind of giving people an idea of some danger signs. If you see this on your roof, if you see this going on with your gutters or whatever, now might be a good time to call the specialists. But
Yeah, like I went and visited my mom several months back, and I noticed a bow in her roof, and she's like, "Oh, that's been there for years." And I go, "Mom, that means one of your trusses is busted. It's broken. You need to get that fixed." So I read that in an article. I had no idea. I wouldn't have known that otherwise, but I was able to educate my mom because I had read that in an article. So for instance, the roofing for veterans, he could write an article on, no more than 4 layers for roof replacement, and why you wouldn't want to go more than 4 layers. Maybe there's certain rules and laws and city ordinances. Those are great articles to write about. They don't necessarily have to be on your page, but if you're in the business of educating someone, if there are ordinances and you can only have 4 layers on a roof, you can explain why. And you don't have to go into great detail. You could just cite the ordinance that's in this, let's say the city of Lakewood, if it exists, and explain why you can't go past 4 layers. It can cause your insurance not to, be valid. Any number of reasons, but just be thoughtful, concise in your writing. Keep it between, I would say 600 to 900 words. You have it's like a bookend when you write. You have an introduction, kind of explain what you want to talk about. Have 3 paragraphs in the middle of some of the content of why it's the way it is. And then lastly, you have a footer, a bookend that kind of wraps it up. And that's all you have to do is write that. And if you're a guest writer on the chamber, it's going to boost your visibility. And then, like I said, just submit it to Linda Smith and she'll review it and give me the A-OK to post it. And she doesn't shy away by saying, no, we don't want to talk about that topic. She talks about everything, politics, you name it. And you're welcome to host it, you know. Obviously, no vulgar language and that kind of stuff, but you know,
Not in
but-
writing anyway.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, this website is fully for the members, and like I said, guest writing and getting your page spruced up a little bit would be a huge benefit to your business. And you know, don't necessarily have to have anyone visiting it, but you want Google to know that it exists because it helps your SEO footprint.
And
Any other
ultimately-
questions? Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
ultimately you want to be, you know, you want to be the expert in your field, whatever that is, so that when people think about whatever product or service you're selling, they're going to automatically think of you because you're the one that's gifting people with knowledge, information, tips and tricks, whatever it might be that people will go, oh, this person really knows what they're talking about. And they're actually putting it in writing and standing by that. So, you know, it's a really good way to verify who you are and your credibility. And so, you know, you can post a blog and share it with the chamber. And if you belong to other groups and organizations, you can share it there so that you're spreading the wealth, spreading the information, and spreading your name out there. So it's a really good way to, you know, I don't want to say every single article that you would write or submit would go viral, but it's a really good way for you to get your name out there.
Yeah, it's never
It's
meant to
cost free.
be.
It's really
Yeah.
just, it's your time.
Yeah,
You know, but, you know, rather than watching another rerun, you know, on TV, spend 20 minutes to just pop something out and
Mhm.
see where it takes you.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. It's never intended to be a viral experience, but sometimes it may happen. But having that article on multiple pages just makes Google want to say, "Oh, you're more legitimate than the guy who didn't do that."
Right,
That's what it comes down to. So.
right.
Now we have dead silence.
Yeah, I'm just, as the wind starts picking up over here, that's like.
I know the rain started picking up over here. It's pretty,
Yeah.
pretty intense.
Oh,
Speaking
Awesome.
of roofing,
Good job, Sean. Yeah, looks great. Good job.
well, it was nice to meet you all again. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to give me an email or call. And I love to help as much as I possibly can. One of the other questions I do get asked is how often do I update the pages? I'll try to go in once every other month or so, or well, once a month. But when I do updates, I'll check to see if there's any new profiles. And then, you know, I'll go through and update the ones that submit multiple, you know, over time. And then those who send me their new profile, I usually contact them and ask them to review their profile and see if there's any changes I'd like to make. When I create the profiles, they're not permanent by any means. So if you say, well, I'm not particularly fond of the font you use or where you place my services, all those things can be changed. So pretty simple and straightforward. So.
okay. Well, if there are no more questions, we'll go ahead and let you guys loose. Thank you again, Sean.
Mhm.
Appreciate everything you do. And if anyone's in search of a web designer, a website designer, you might want to pick up the phone and talk to Sean. He's our guy. And, you know, we're a small organization with a limited budget, but we really get, in my opinion, first-class service with Sean. He takes care of us, and we're important on his list as well. And one of the things that I have to tip my hat to Sean for is, for whatever reason, there's a lot of people that want to come in and I call them terrorists, but come in and want to get into our pages. And what's the term, Sean?
What do you mean? Like they want to update them or?
No, not update them though. They want to come in and basically take down our page.
Oh, well, the
uh,
thing is that there's organizations out there that sell like kits that are for chambers. Um, they're not cost effective for a small organization. They can cost you $30,000
mhm.
for those type of setups. This, we've been running this pretty successfully for like what, 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, and it has done really well for us and keeps costs at a relative, it doesn't change the cost in terms of what has to be budgeted each year for a
Oh,
local
and I'm
chamber.
thinking more
So,
along the lines of cyber attacks too. You know, because you
oh,
will,
you're talking about the
you'll
hackers?
notify me
Oh,
when we get
yeah.
hackers that, so for some reason, we end up,
Well, the
in the
reason why that
radar.
well, the reason why that happens is because as your SEO footprint rises, the hackers become more aware of who you are and that your website exists. When you open up a website for the first time, no one knows you exist. But as you know, this has been up and running for 4 or 5 years. The SEO footprint has increased greatly just by natural attrition.
Mhm.
Nothing that we are doing specifically to boost it, except just writing articles and making sure content is relatively updated. For instance, you can see at the very top of the page, I'm not sharing now, but the top of the page, Metro Parks announced that the loop for the Point Defiance Park is no longer going to be accessible to motor vehicles. So
The
it's a
outer part
chamber.
of 5 Mile Drive,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's basically the chamber's responsibility as an organization that represents Lakewood, but not just for Lakewood, but the surrounding areas, especially parks, where Lakewood citizens and Lakewood business owners and even member business owners that aren't even in Lakewood would go to the Defiance Park. So we post that information when it's relevant. But when we do that, we increase our SEO footprint because we're now relevant to what is being posted in the news. Because this is a current hot topic right now at King and Cairo and Q13 and so forth. Since we're posting on our page, Google sees that we're keeping up with the Joneses, basically. And as you do that in SEO, you become more favorable to hackers. And in fact, hackers from all over the world, try to break into your site and they want to try to deface the site. They want to borrow space on the site to, provide nefarious activities, illegal movies and other items that they share, music and so forth. So yeah, we do see a fair amount of people trying to bombard the site, trying to break into it. And but we have security in place that captures all that and keeps a good log. So, and we also have lots of backups, and backups are necessary when you've got 400 plus members with information that are in the actual website. Heaven forbid that Scott would not want to have to redo it all.
Very true.
So yeah, but when you said you had people coming to the chamber, I thought you were talking about like web developers knocking on a door and saying that they could build you a better website. No, that's guerrilla warfare.
Oh, no,
Linda.
no, we
Yeah.
get those emails frequently enough. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, I won't mention who the company was, but they were sending out speeding tickets to my clients and saying and showing the violations of the things that you were doing wrong with your website. And it's a local web developer who did this.
Wow.
And that's guerrilla warfare right there. Yeah, really. And it actually was a speeding ticket. It actually had officer such and such name and had a fake signature and looked like a speeding ticket from the city of Tacoma. Yeah, it was
Wow.
pretty aggressive. But yeah, that's guerrilla warfare. But what you're talking about is hackers.
Hackers.
Yeah, hackers. So yeah, it happens quite often. And we
Yeah, it
keep them at
does.
bay. We keep them at bay. Anyhow, any other questions before we head out? Well, it was nice to see all your beautiful faces.
Thank you, Sean.
Take care of yourself.
Thank
Nice to
you.
see you again, Leon. I haven't seen you in years.
I know, let's just get back to, we have lots of events this summer too, so we're going
Yeah.
crazy, but do this instant move this last few weeks, so I'm
Yeah.
actually living in Lakewood now. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, the tree that went through your apartment or whatever it was, that was pretty
Yeah,
scary.
Yeah, it's crazy, so.
Yeah, that
But
was
I'm closer to
crazy.
the office now. Actually don't even go to my office much. I love being home.
Really? Nice. Now you guys take care of yourself. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye.
Be well. Thanks, everyone.